Hey guys, Crow Cooper here with On the Black, and I'm joined today by Tanya Mercado of Citi Field of Dreams and contributor to Mets 360. What's going on, Tanya?
Hey, how's it going?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Pretty good, can't complain.
Yeah, I hear you. So have you been staying up late watching these West Coast games?
Honestly, I really have. I didn't think that I would, but I'm like, you know what? They're playing some really good baseball right now. It's getting into that all-star break stretch. Yeah, let me just see what's going on right now.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Yeah, the last two nights, I'm feeling it right now from the last two nights. You know, hopefully I can make it through tonight and won't fall asleep on the couch, but we'll see.
That's the advantage to my job. I don't start work till 1 o'clock, so I can sleep in a little.
There you go then. So, hey, first question I want to ask you, the last time we spoke was during spring training. And at the time I asked you what you were looking forward to this season. A couple things you named. You said, the battle for some of the positions, but also how some of the young guys would develop and play this year. And two guys specifically I want to ask you about, Ruben Tejada and Justin Turner, and how you think that those two guys have done so far this year.
Ruben Tejada has actually surprised me as far as the bat. I really didn't think he would be doing as well.
Mm-hmm.
Offensively, defensively, I knew he would be sound, fundamental, and everything. So there's no surprise. To me, he's like Edgardo Alfonso right now when it comes to the glove.
Right.
With the bat, he's decent. I wouldn't call him this explosive guy or anything, but with a little bit more experience, a little more seasoning, I think he could do some damage.
Mm-hmm. 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 And what about Justin Turner?
Justin Turner is probably, I think, the surprise of the season. I love Justin Turner.
How could you not?
Seriously, one of the things that I have always been a preacher of is a gritty player. You need the guys who are going to come out, getting hit by a pitch, do whatever it takes, as long as they're in a run.
Right.
And that's what'll help a team right now. I mean, look at Ty Wigginton. Ty Wigginton was that gritty player that the Mets so desperately needed. And now we have Turner, and hopefully some of the other guys will follow in his footsteps and be like, okay, you know what? If it takes getting hit by a pitch to win a game, then that's what I'll do.
Right. Now, switching topics a little bit, I know you're a big Carlos Beltran fan.
Yes, I am.
Is he your favorite player on the team?
Right now, I have to say he is.
Okay, all right.
And being that he's Puerto Rican, I have some pride in there.
Yeah, there you go. There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. But let me ask you about him. I mean, he had all these issues in the spring and over the winter with his knee. There was so much question marks about him this year. And, how many days would he play in the lineup? I think I heard Colin say the other day that he was only expecting him to play like 3 days a week. But he's been out there every day. I think he's had a solid year. He made the All-Star team. I mean, even you, a Beltran fan, you got to be a little surprised by how well he's played this year.
I'm not surprised by the performance.
Okay.
What I'm surprised is the number of games.
Okay.
I didn't expect him to play so many games. I honestly, like Collins, I expected maybe 3 games out of the week. Pushing maybe 4, but definitely not as much. I mean, to see him play at the level that he's playing with, with his knees and everything, I'm extremely happy about it.
Right.
But at the same time, I still cringe every time I see him diving for a catch or sneaking a sliding catch. And I'm like, please, you're going to bust your kneecaps. Take it easy. But he's always been a great player.
Right.
The fact that some people have gotten on his case and have never forgiven him for 2006 is crazy because, honestly, he is worth money. Maybe not the crazy contract that he got. Honestly, I don't think any player is. But he was worth some money. He has done the best that he could for the Mets, and he continues to do that to this year. It may be a contract year for him, but still, throughout his tenure with the Mets, he's done what he needed to do, what he has been paid to do.
Right. No, and that's true. I mean, we'll see what happens after this year, right? I mean, he's in his last year. Considering the shape the Mets are in financially, I would say there's a pretty good chance that this might be his last year as a Met. I mean, are you prepared for that, him being your favorite guy?
I'm really not. I'm going to cry. I have to go to the last game that he plays in Because I don't think he'll come back.
Yeah.
I mean, at most he'll probably go to an American League team because I don't even see another National League team picking him up. But I probably will shed some tears when he leaves.
Yeah, I hear you. You know, you brought up a interesting topic there about where he could end up next year. You know, before the season started, I would have definitely said American League DH next year. But I mean, he's proven that he can play in the field every day. I'm not so sure anymore. I mean, someone in the National League might take a shot on at him, maybe giving him a year contract and a team option or something like that, or maybe even a 2-year deal. I mean, what do you think about that?
Considering who his agent is, I highly doubt that that's a contract that they'll take.
Uh-huh.
And if he wants to, even Carlos Beltran said it, I want to extend my career. Then if he wants to seriously extend that career, then he should go to an American League team, because then at least he could get another 5 years out of himself.
Yeah, okay. Well, it'll definitely be interesting to see what happens. Definitely be interesting. So, next topic. I know that you are a contributor over at Mets 360. You recently blogged, I think the title was Mets Baseball, It Gets Inside of You. Tell me a little bit about that. Tell everyone that's watching this a little bit about that blog post and kind of what you meant and what you wrote about.
Well, I was actually inspired by A League of Their Own because I was watching that movie one night.
Okay.
And Tom Hanks' character, he made the quote, "Baseball is what gets inside you. It's what lights you up and you can't deny that." And it's so true. Because I remember as a kid, my first baseball game, I mean, my eyes lit up. And I was like, oh my gosh. You know, and I followed the Mets since I was a little kid back in the 80s. And even through the tough times, you know, I was still there. I was still watching the games, even when with my mom screaming at me, turn off the TV and go do your chores. You know? But it's just one of those things that you'll always see Mets fans together and always talking about their team.
Right.
You know, through the thick, the thin, they may be pissed off with their team. They might hate the team. They might hate ownership. They might hate where they are in the standings. But they always come back.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And that's the whole thing. That's what separates Mets fans from like the Yankee fans, the Phillies fans. We always come back. Other fans won't come back until their team proves something to them.
Yeah, I guess that might not always be the best thing, but you're right.
Exactly, because you know what? Sometimes you want to teach ownership a lesson, and you're like, you know what? I want my players. Bring me my players. But then at the same time, you just can't stay away from the ballpark.
Gotcha.
You know, I've been to Dodger Stadium. I've been to Yankee Stadium, as much as I've hated it.
Yeah.
But there's just something about going to a Mets game. It's just different.
Right.
You know, it really is like being with family.
Yeah.
Everybody goes there. If the Mets hit a home run, everybody's high-fiving each other. Everybody gets excited. If they lose, everybody's crying together. Or everybody's just screaming their lungs out, pissed off.
Yeah.
But no matter what, they manage to stick together.
Right.
The seats might sometimes be empty, but there's just so much love and so much devotion. I mean, you can look at how many blog sites there are dedicated to the Mets.
More than any other team.
Exactly. And that just proves the dedication of Mets fans to their team. It's not just baseball. It's definitely the Mets.
Yeah, yeah.
Because if it was just baseball, I think every team would have that.
Right.
It's really not. There's just something about the Mets.
Right, right. No, it's a good point. Definitely a good point. Now, switching topics a little bit, got a couple questions here from some people on my Facebook fan page, and I want to throw these questions out to you. Put you on the spot a little bit. All right, the first one is from Heaver, and he says, post All-Star break, we will be getting back our studs, and he mentions David Wright and Johan Santana. Fingers crossed, I guess. With the wild card not completely out of reach for this club, as is, if they give the team a boost, at what point do you decide we're buyers or sellers? And he's asking, to name a month, which would have to be July, and then I guess a number of games out. So, the question is, at what point should the GM decide this team is buyers or sellers and either go for it or pack it in this year?
That's a hard question.
Yeah.
It really is. I mean, it also depends. You have to also take into consideration what it is that Alderson wants to do in the off season.
Yeah.
If he's really intent on bringing back Reyes, then you have to become sellers, and you have to be sellers, but at least if you're 15 games out of the wild card. If you're 10 to 15 games out of the wild card, then you should be sellers.
Right.
And you just do whatever it takes so that you can guarantee to bring back Reyes. I honestly don't think they have a shot at the division because the Phillies are just like the sense of the division.
Yeah, the division's gone. The only thing they should be focused on, if anything, is the wild card, which I think they're about 6 out right now. I think.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, let me put it to you this way. Let's say July 25th, which is a Monday, which is like 6 days before the deadline. Let's say they're about 4 or 5 games out of the wild card. What would you do at that point?
I'd be a buyer.
You'd be a buyer? Okay.
I'd be a buyer.
All right.
I would try to unload what's not working and bring in those missing pieces because they're just maybe like 1 or 2 pieces shy of really making that push. I mean, if you're 4 games out, you need to do whatever it takes to bring in those 2 pieces to take you over the top.
Right. And they're within reach. I believe they're about 6 out right now. So, they're not, they're a winning streak away, going 8-2 in their next 10 or something like that from kind of really being in the mix. So. And
that's the whole thing. I mean, because you look at what they've done without Ike Davis, without David Wright, and without Johan Santana. Mm-hmm. So if these guys come back, that'll definitely help bring in that extra push.
Right.
So all it would take was maybe like one guy.
Gotcha.
Maybe that one extra bat in that lineup.
Okay, gotcha. All right, next question I have from you. This one is from Joey, and the question is, will Jason Bay on the Mets ever be Jason Bay that played for Pittsburgh and Boston? Now, before you answer that question, Bay is swinging a hot bat right now.
He is. I mean, I'm loving what Jason Bay's doing right now. The only thing is, I mean, you have to consider what type of player he was when he was with Pittsburgh and Boston. Yeah, he had his hot streaks, but at the same time, he's always been a streaky player. Mm-hmm. So you have to expect him to go through these long lengths of missing in action, and then he's going to come back and have like go on this killing rampage with the bat. And I think right now, he's about to do that. He's about to be explosive right now, which he's choosing the perfect time to do it. The only thing that killed him was when he took that daddy leave, when his wife had the baby.
Yeah, you can't blame him for that, though.
Yeah, I can't. How many kids does he already have?
Yeah, well, I mean, trust me. When you have your own kids, your opinion will change in that. Trust me, it is something that no matter how many kids you have, I mean, it's the birth of your child. I can't blame him for that. I can't.
No, I mean, okay, fine. You can't blame him for it, but still, it was something that happened.
Right.
It caused him to be away from the team. Mm-hmm. He didn't do anything, so it was just like a resting period. So I'm hoping that he's on his little hot streak right now. I'm hoping that after the All-Star break, he's able to come back and maintain that for a little while because the Mets are definitely going to need that.
Right. Yeah, no, and that's a good point, and I don't think he's ever going to be someone that hits 35 or 40 home runs for this team, but, if he could be in the 20 to 25 range, I'd be happy with that. And, with Wright and with Davis out right now, the Mets definitely need his bat. They need some home runs desperately, so hopefully he'll pick it up.
We hope.
Yeah, we definitely hope. So, but hey, Tanya, I want to thank you for joining me and doing this chat with me again. I definitely enjoyed this chat again. I'm a big fan of your blog, Citi Field of Dreams, and I also read you over at Mets 360 when you write over there as well. So everybody watching this, please make sure you go and check out Tanya. Thanks, Tanya.
Thanks, Corral. It was great doing this with you again.